Hey, love, welcome back to Relationship Rescue, the podcast where we dive deep into the real conversations about healing, boundaries, and building the kind of love that actually lasts. This week, I'm sitting down with someone who doesn't just talk about intimacy, she transforms it. My guest is Allana Pratt, an intimacy expert, author, and coach with over 20 years of experience helping people stop sabotaging love and start connecting from a place of truth, confidence, and emotional safety. She's been featured in Forbes, People Magazine, Fox, and has even coached celebrities like Alanis Morissette and Lisa Gibbons. In this episode, we get into it all. The difference between sexual attraction and real intimacy, how to know if you're stuck in a trauma bond, what it really means to become the one, to find the one, and the five biggest mistakes that ruin even the most conscious relationships. So, whether you're dating, healing, or just tired of losing yourself in love, this conversation will wake you up and call you in. Let's get into it. Elena, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. And I'm so glad you had a pool during the heat wave. You
Oh
are a
my God.
lady.
Oh my God. I'm telling you, it was a life-saving. Yeah, last week. I was like, thank God I have a pool. And I have a little puppy. So I have
Oh,
to dip the puppy in the pool to keep him cool because we didn't have a light.
oh my
Um,
God.
you're such an impressive person. You're an intimacy expert, coach, author, speaker. You've written a lot of books. I am huge favorite of your work. I've been following you. I've been watching you
Wow.
work, and
Thank
our
you.
listeners really, really love what you do. So I'm going to start in asking you what inspired to become a intimacy expert coach.
Because I was such a hot mess, Valerie. I didn't start out to be an expert. I started out to get help,
Wow.
because I was very good at faking it. Like I was, like I'm an Ivy League grad. I can be friends with anybody, but inside, spinning a million miles an hour, terrified of being rejected, hurt. Someone was going to get me. This feeling since a little kid of like, when is dad going to erupt? Because he was either drunk or stoned. When is mom gonna like, is she going to stick around? Because I could tell she was just keeping it together. And as a very young kid, I was super three steps ahead, just super
Mm.
hyper vigilant, and which led to being a very high achiever, reading the room super, super fast, but from a place of terror, not from a place of curiosity. And so I wasn't really aware of that. I was just spinning so fast. And then divorce number one, divorce number two.
Mm.
Okay, I don't need divorce number three to go. The only one in common is me. And as I started to do the work, I discovered I had an inside. I didn't even know I had an inside. I was so future focused, goal oriented, accomplished, stay safe. When I started to slow down and come into my body, I was so humbled. I was terrified. I was terrified. And then I was humiliated and embarrassed that I was so insecure and terrified on the inside. So I'm like, I have some work to do. This whole idea of having an intimate relationship with myself, no. I mean, when I first slowed down and felt inside, I hated myself. We need to change her. She needs to change right now. She needs to ship up or shape up. Like I was cruel. I got even
Mm.
more critical when I discovered how insecure I was and terrified I was. Like she needs a program. She needs like to be fixed. And then I went even deeper and I thought, no, she needs a hug. She needs a hug. She needs compassion. She needs someone to go, wow, anybody who'd grown up in that environment would be terrified. You're lucky you didn't become a drug addict and live under a bridge. Look at you. You're a cum laude graduate of Columbia University. Look, you help people all over the world. You're amazing. You need compassion. You need someone that's there for you versus you being there for everybody else. Even just makes me cry right now. The
I
amount, the amount of compassion it takes to be kind to myself. So that's intimacy. Can we love our wobbly parts just as much as we love our magnificent parts? And it's a journey. Yeah,
Oh my
it's a journey.
God.
Even I'm 55, I've been doing this for 22 years and I still get moved by what it really takes to stop faking it and just to come home to yourself and let that not just be enough, but let that be everything. Because when, and it's not 24/7, Valerie, but it's way more often than not, this sense of home. Like, even if somebody doesn't follow you on Facebook, even if someone doesn't want to marry you, even if that next client doesn't want to work with you, even, like the whole list goes down. I love you, Allana. I won't leave you. Even if you're rejected, I won't reject you. Even if they don't appreciate you for all the work you've done. I don't know about you, but clients, every so often I make the mistake of taking on a bipolar client. And they love me and then they hate me because I flesh up all their mummy wounds or their daddy wounds or whatever it is, right? And they turn against me when I've given everything. Like, those moments really, really hurt. So there's days when all I do is just get my blankie and I snuggle my cat, and maybe I have too many glasses of wine, and I go to sleep and I go, okay, why are we doing this? Well, at the end of the day, we're doing this for ourselves, to be whole, to give from wholeness to others, to let all of us know we can come home to wholeness inside. It's completely possible as a practice, not as a goal, but as a practice. And to me, that's what being alive is.
I think, first of all, it's such an amazing thing that you said, that self realization, which a lot of people are missing. Self realization. That is the key over here. And I love that you said, and I'm so proud of you that you actually did it on your own. You realize, which a lot of people don't. And that's why we're having this discussion. That's why we're
Yeah,
bringing these topics, because people are so used to their habit, their personality, their origin, their where they come from, how they were raised, and they think that's them. So
right.
to break that cycle and say to yourself, like, okay, no, it's not good. Let's just switch this. And like you said, and change it. So our listeners are in an age that they're been through a lot of a story that you have been in. And by the way, before I even start with that, me and you, we have so much similarity. As I'm listening to your story, I
Yeah.
literally call it come back home.
Yes,
I say that
yes.
to my client, come back home, bring it back, bring it back.
Yeah. Yes.
So to your safety place. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. But a lot of young adults these days, men and women,
Yeah.
are growing up in such a fast society,
Yeah.
and the demand of being successful is
Mm.
so colorful and so shiny that doesn't have a lot of deep meanings, and
Yes.
they're just going 100 miles an hour to
Yep.
achieve that, but unfortunately lacking self-love,
Yeah.
lacking knowing themselves, lacking that actually what it is that they wanted to do.
Yeah.
So, like, in your word, what does true intimacy actually look like?
Yeah. True intimacy is the ability. So, what it looks like when you're with yourself is that you can, just like what I did when we first started, like, there was
Hmm.
emotion there. I didn't push it away. I didn't make myself wrong. I just kept being authentic with you until that emotional wave passed in our conversation, staying
Hmm.
connected to myself and staying connected to you. So that's what it looks like in practice. When the emotion comes up, you don't run, you don't fake it, you don't pretend you're fine when you're not. You don't do any of the coping mechanisms. You don't leave your body. You don't dissociate and be fake. All those kind of things. You're transparent. You're vulnerable. You're real. You're connected to yourself and you're connected to another. And while we already have fallen, I've already fallen in love with you. I won't speak for you, but like, we're
I
already
know.
connected, right?
Right.
But I don't need that in order to be okay. I hope so. I hope we're connected. I hope we have a great conversation. I hope we make a difference.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I don't need that to know I'm enough and that I'm worthy and that I belong. And that even if it's just me, myself, and I, that's enough. Because something happens when you really do this depth of intimate work, which I didn't know was going to happen. I
Hmm.
always question, like, is there really a God? Is the universe really listening? Do I really, like, is there an afterlife? All these questions, right? When I have these deep, deep, profound moments with little you, I call it little you,
Hmm.
it's almost like Russian dolls. Like, I'm holding little you, and all of a sudden I feel held by the divine. I mean, this dude with a beard in the sky doesn't come down and give me a hug, but I feel the experience of resting into something. I don't feel alone. I might be alone, but not lonely. Like, I feel, oh, this oneness. It's almost like this Shazam moment where there's no, have you ever like made love where you don't really know where you end and they begin? It's just
Yeah.
this like moment. And it's not all the time, but there's these tastes, right? It's
Mhm.
like a taste of making love with life, of the divine having oneness with me. And these moments, I call them like a direct experience.
Mhm.
They're worth it. They're a touch point. They're like, I'm not alone. There is a reason for this. I don't need to figure it out all the time. It doesn't have to make sense because there's a felt sense inside me of home. Like you said earlier, come home. And to me, that's intimacy. Into me, I see. Can I stay connected with me with a sense of home, regardless of the size of my bank account, the size of my boobs, the size of my butt, the size, whatever? Like, no, I'm enough. And this gives one confidence. It allows us to take healthy risks. It allows us to sense they're telling a story. It's all bullshit,
Mm.
right? Like we
Mhm.
have intuition. It allows us to be fully self-expressed and be a total dork. It allows us to be a little more naughty when we want to be kinky and like if they reject us, okay, that won't feel great, but I won't reject me. My expression is unique. There's only one of me. They broke the mold with me. If I'm not going to be me, no one will. I'm not going to die with my song inside. So it gives us a sense of aliveness without attachment to the outcome. And to me, that allows every day to be rich and full. And if, as I said earlier, if the day is a fetal position crying, to me, that's another kind of richness and fullness because it's honest and it's real. And and we love ourselves even though we're sad or mad or ashamed. And that capacity to me is a vibration. I'm a science geek. I love interviewing, quantum physicists on my podcast. That's a capacity and a vibration. If I can be with myself when I'm scared or sad or mad or ashamed, that ability, that vibration will make a match. And I can now attract somebody who can also be with me when I'm sad or mad or ashamed. And the same is true if I push away my shame, if I stuff down my emotions, that's also a lack of a capacity or a lower frequency. And I can only attract that match as well. I'll attract somebody who will shame me like I'm shaming me, reject me
Mhm.
like I'm rejecting me, not be open like I'm not being open to myself. I love the people that say, why do I keep attracting emotionally unavailable people? I'm like, well, that's because you're emotionally unavailable to yourself. And they're like, oh, what? I have to take ownership. I have to like take responsibility. I'm like, yeah, you got to grow up. You got to grow up. At some point, if you want a healthy relationship with yourself and others and your body, you gotta take ownership and not blame yourself and do the work.
And it's so important. The part I'm going to emphasize, what you said beautifully, is that when you have the down moments, embracing that, because what do? We push that away. We tell them, we tell them that be strong, stop crying, you're okay, and that's why they push it down.
Yes.
That feeling of the thing, which is so damaging, because like you said, both sides is beautiful. If you feel like you wanted to be alone and just take some time for yourself, or most importantly, you don't have to figure it out right this minute, right now. Stay
Right.
with it.
Right. Be in the
It's
unknown.
okay.
Yeah.
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 It's okay. You don't have to figure everything out and suppress your emotions and say, I need to fix this. I need to have a control over this. This has to go. And now they're showing so much technique that do this, do that in order to bypass it.
No.
But that is the part that you need to get to know yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. I think when we bypass these for too long, it gets us sick. My mom died at 61 of cancer, and I
Hmm.
believe maybe it was predestined genetically or something, but I believe it really took hold because of all the emotions that she stuffed down her whole life. And it ate away at her. That's my point of view. And so when we slow down and get to know these difficult parts. And we literally reparent ourselves. I mean, our parents, they did their best. There's really no good sense in blaming them, right? Fine. But we can reparent them. And I don't know all the different modalities that you use, but something that I started about 5 years ago was a specific use of psychedelic medicine to stay in the body. It's called
Hmm.
psychedelic somatic integration.
Okay.
And I'll tell you a story if you want about how I
Yes, please.
came to it. But now I use it with my clients, and it helps them get out of the head,
Mm-hmm.
stay in the body. It's not a lot of medicine. It's not a group. It's a one-on-one blindfolded. And the facilitator, which is now me, but I was facilitated before,
Mm-hmm.
was when you're dissociating, that's level 4 trauma. You're just spinning a million miles an hour, just trying to survive. Something happened where you never got the ability to come back to rest, to
Okay.
zero, right? So when you come back in the body in this PSI, psychedelic somatic integration, when you come back into level 3 trauma is hopeless. It's
Mm.
what's the point? Suicidal. It's dark. And most people don't want to stay there. So let's dissociate again. Let's go on
Right.
social media. Let's like get another goal. Let's accomplish something. Let's keep running, right? But it's not sustainable. And you're actually
Right.
running away from the very thing you desire, which is intimacy with self and another and connection and knowing you're enough just because. That's 0.
Okay.
So 3, when I'm with my client and it's really dark, I say, take me with you. Trust your body knows what it's doing. Your autonomic nervous system knows what it's doing.
Mm.
We've got to go through this phase. And so they have the experience of, wow, well, maybe when I was a little kid and I was sad, somebody told me stop crying. I'm reparenting them in that moment. Take me with you. Tell me more. I'm right here. So their nervous system, their soul is getting an experience of, wow, I matter even now. You're not going to leave me even now. I'm so sad that I don't want to go on, but you'll sit with me. So then we get to level 2 trauma.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a very short, acute, maybe 60 seconds. It's the thing that happened. So you feel terror, panic, rage, something really intense that's not very socially appropriate to feel. And you probably
Mm.
scared off boyfriends or girlfriends in the past when you got this angry or this scared, right? Or you just shoved it down. Well, again, I'm there with them. Like, let's just trust body. Let's just trust body. I'm right here. And maybe their arms will recapitulate what happened. They'll push away the abuser, or their legs will start to run. They want to run away from the bad boogeyman that was getting them for realsies
Mm-hmm.
and when they were little.
Mm-hmm.
And then level 1 trauma is more just like nervousness, like mild agitation. And I say, let's just stay there. Your body's calming down. I'm still here. I got you. I'm right here. And then, Valerie, they hit 0.
A
And
zero.
0 is, it's like oneness, home, everything makes sense, wisdom and understanding, but not like figuring it out strategy of the mind,
Right.
like a deeper, like, oh, that was the life lesson. Oh, that was my soul contract. Oh, that was meant to help me find my voice, help me put a boundary down, help me live my truth, even if I was going to get rejected from my family, whatever. Like there's wisdom there and a sense of wholeness in the body, and they start spewing like they're like a religious book or a spiritual book, like this wisdom comes out of them. And I'm taking copious notes the whole time of this whole journey, because
Right.
I'm not just there with that one experience. I'm private coaching, we're group coaching, maybe we go to a retreat, we're in a community. So I understand the bigger picture of how all of this makes sense for their life journey. And quite often things that they can never figure out in their mind are
Mm.
not because they're not smart or brave or any of these things. It's because it's a subconscious wound, an unconscious wound, a wound before words were formed, a wound that's way back when they were really small, sometimes even a wound from a prior life, which I don't know if you believe in that or not,
I
but
do. I do.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think people just die and they never got to process that unfair wound that happened, that death that happened. So I often will process past life death. And
Mm.
that suicidal place, the level 3, was actually a death. So I sit with them in the life in between lives. It's just fascinating. The body keeps the score. The body keeps
Yeah.
the score. And when I can help somebody get all the way back to 0, for me, it allowed me to forgive myself. Because as we mentioned at the beginning of this interview, I had 2 divorces. The only one in common was me. And my
Mm-hmm.
very first, it's called PSI, my very first PSI session personally as a participant, all the memories came back of being repeatedly sexually abused, molested. But I had dissociated as a kid. But all the smells came back, the sounds came back, the physical sensations came back, even horrible things like, you made me do this, you like this is your fault. All the blame and projection, the mental illness, all of it came back. So on the one hand, it was atrocious to experience my sweet little body replaying, recapitulating, pushing away abusers, hearing those words. But on the other hand, when I got back to zero, I forgave myself because I'm a smart cookie. Why would I not only choose these certain people that I married, I also professionally would choose bad coaches, bad mentors, bad investors in my business. I would choose people professionally or personally who
Personally.
would use and abuse me. Why? Because my little
Because
girl was, where's the next abuser to survive? Where's the next abuser to survive? I literally would go to a dating event or a networking event. Like, there's the sociopath. Let's marry him. Like that's the way my body, not my brain, my body
Mhm.
was wired. And when I was facilitated and coming back to zero, that pattern stopped. The pattern ended. So now my brain and my body are in alignment. We
Mm.
all want to be honored.
Same
But
thing.
before, there was this disparate experience going on inside where my brain wanted a healthy relationship or a healthy investor, but my body wanted to be
Body.
as close to that abuser to survive. And so I've seen my clients go from dating really unhealthy people to finding the one, maybe a drug addiction or a sex addiction, things that these are very intelligent, lovely humans,
Yeah.
but they just can't stop. And so it's a subconscious wound that I'm able to help facilitate now and talk about rewarding as my own personal life,
Right, right, right.
rewarding as a professional to help people stop these unhealthy patterns. I'm so grateful for this new use, renaissance of psychedelic medicine, not to check out, but to check in and do the deep work.
Absolutely. Sounds amazing. Now, is it possible that people can bounce between, two, three, four, or they just go, the process is always the same. Once you get out of the four, you cannot go back to that.
Oh, no, no, no. You go back all the time. Yeah. Like
So,
it's called a wave. So
okay.
if somebody won't surrender, won't let go, and tries to figure it out in their mind, they'll pop back out again. Or
Mm,
they haven't quite developed the bravery or the courage to trust their body because the
mm,
body does weird things. The
right.
body will shake. The body will replay what happened, and it doesn't make any sense to your mind. Or maybe you're embarrassed. You don't know what your facilitator will say. There's a lot of different dynamics. So it's very much about how much you trust your facilitator, how talented your facilitator is. And also, what I've witnessed is dark. If
Right.
it triggers me and then I dissociate and they're dissociated, it's not going to be very good. So it's very important to choose an exceptional facilitator and trust yourself on that one, and to trust, make a commitment to yourself that I'm going for it. I'm going to do this. And so for me, I'm not just like a one-off sitter when somebody's on psychedelic medicine. No, no, no. You're in my world for a year. We're doing this. We're doing this
Okay.
well. And we're going to do 3 journeys over the year. You're going to be part of the community. We'll do private sessions in group because as these, as it's called a wave, but as your autonomic nervous system begins to come back to zero,
Mm,
it's very destabilizing. I'll tell you a little bit about the tiers as well, so it helps
okay.
understand. Tier one is the body. The
Okay.
body's where the trauma is stored. And it's like an iceberg. Underneath the water is the big part of the iceberg, right? So that's where
Correct.
all the subconscious wounds are. And you may, but probably won't know what's actually in there. You might have a sense, but you might actually not know what's causing it all. Okay. Tier two is the identity we create to survive the wound.
The one.
People
Right.
pleasers or overachievers or avoiders or anxious avoidant, all these identities we've called ourselves, right? That identity was based on surviving the wound. And once you've cleared out the wound, you don't need the identity anymore, which is a
Mm,
great thing because you can go all the way up to tier three, which
right.
is the cosmos, unity, God, the divine. You can have all this unity consciousness, this beautiful through line. But in the meantime, it's very destabilizing. Your charisma shtick that you've always used to try to succeed doesn't work anymore. You're face to face with how inauthentic you've been. You have to come to terms with how not present how not in your body, how you've been running a million miles an hour. So it's destabilizing, disorienting until it's the best. It's so confident. It's so peaceful. It's so empowered. Nobody's perfect. We all have our moments, but it's so worth the journey. And then the results start to change because the old patterns aren't attracting the old abusers anymore.
Mm.
So it's actually scary to actually attract healthy love. They actually see me. They actually care about me. They actually keep their word. They actually have integrity. They're actually a good person. And then a whole other wave comes up. Am I worth it?
I was just gonna say that. I
Right?
was just gonna
Am
say
I
that.
worth it? So you have a whole renaissance inside yourself of self-worth, not from accomplishments and achievements, but from this whole other pure place with yourself and then in relationship. People go, why am I doing this job? This is so unfulfilling. It's all based on looking good, has nothing to do with what delights me. So, this is some of the destabilization that will go on in a year of working with me. So, I want to be responsible and be sure I've got your back when some of these really big meltdowns, breakthroughs, and awarenesses happen. And yet, not one person has been upset by it. They've all been thrilled. And then also, when they share in the group what went down, it's almost like the tide, all boats rise in the tide, or whatever that statement is.
Mhm.
People can sense truth,
Yeah.
and it awakens something within themselves. So we all grow together.
And it's like you're not alone. That's another thing that people, once they
Yes.
see in a group, it's like, oh my God, I'm not alone. Because a lot of time when we go to trauma, and like you said, that it just, first of all, you keep it and you're ashamed of it, even though you're the victim. You're ashamed of it because you just assume people automatically say that it's your fault.
Right.
Not that you were told, but not even that assumption comes from yourself. And you think that, and the other big word that we say to ourselves, nobody understands me.
Yeah.
No one understands me. You don't know what I'm talking about. You're
Right.
never going to get it. You've
Right.
never been through it, so you're not going to get it. So they just isolate themselves from
Right.
themselves and
Right.
bury it. So I love what you said, that like when you do the group work, when you see people come together and you hear stories and they're like, huh, wow, I'm not
Yes.
alone. And
Yeah.
that's why it's so important to talk about these things for our listeners right now to listen, and whatever trauma that you've been through, hopefully not, but if you have, or someone that these are the subjects, these are the topic we talk about for you to understand you're not alone.
Right.
We're here
Right.
for you.
Totally.
And that's why we do this. But in general, if I ask you, before I ask you other questions, what are
Mhm.
some signs that they have to realize within themselves that they need to get help?
Consistent patterns of failed relationship, consistent patterns of attracting some form of abuse. It doesn't need to be physical abuse. It could be being manipulated. It could be cheated on. It could be somebody's gaslighting you. Someone's lifting you up and then pulls the rug out from under you, like some sort of pattern where you're attracting somebody unhealthy. The only one in common is you. Another form would be that you're going to tell the truth. I'm addicted to sex. I'm addicted to alcohol. I'm addicted to drugs. I'm addicted to work. I can't slow down. If I slow down, I get really uncomfortable. I can't
Right.
look people in the eyes. I can't tell the truth to a certain degree, but then I'll lie because I'm so afraid of being rejected. All of these are reasons to, in my opinion, to do the work. And there's also a misunderstanding about trauma. It's not necessarily because, I mean, for me, there was sexual abuse. But basically, anytime that autonomic nervous system we're talking about isn't able to come back to zero because someone's not listening, someone's not caring, someone's not paying attention, someone's consistently putting you down, someone's consistently telling you to shut up, go to your room. This consistency causes trauma because there's no way for you to finally feel seen, finally feel held, finally feel
Mhm.
heard, finally feel enough. Like if you have that behavior over and over and over, that registers in the body as trauma because you never got your autonomic nervous system to feel safe, seen, held, unconditionally accepted. Unconditional acceptance is what allows the autonomic nervous system to come all the way back. That's why it's such, I don't even know if the word is honored and privilege. I wish there was a bigger word to be with a soul and a body and be that one who will unconditionally accept them no matter what they behave, no matter what they say, no matter what happens. I'm not going anywhere. And it is the greatest honor to go through this shadow because I know we will get to the light. I know. Now, if you walk out the door, you give up, okay, I can't help you then. But if you show up, every single person, including myself, has gotten back to the light. That's what bravery and commitment to yourself with a partner like myself does. So
Mhm.
that's what I would say. Look for these patterns, be willing to slow down, maybe talk to the person you trust most in the world and ask them, what am I running away from? In your opinion, what am I avoiding? What is it time for me
Yeah.
to face? And don't go to somebody who you think will judge you, make you wrong, try to manipulate you, but go to somebody that you really trust and be brave and be open. Because if you can nail this in your 30s, I didn't start doing this work till my 50s.
Yeah.
I've been a coach for 20 years and I'm really great at it, but my life was sucking behind the scenes, even though I was able to help everyone else. So it wasn't until my 50s that I had my reckoning. And my God, if I had, I mean, when I think of all the pain I've gone through, and I can turn every, lemon into lemonade, I can get the lessons out of everything. I don't walk around regretful. But man, if I could have not hurt as much, had one divorce, not two. um, yeah, and many times in our 30s, we haven't, gotten married yet. We haven't started to have kids yet.
Yeah.
We have time to actually put ourselves first. And there's something that's not narcissistic about the work I do, even though I say self first. Because if you're empty, you're always going to look to the other on some reason. You're the one to make me happy. You're the one that makes me feel good enough.
Mhm.
You're the one that's going to make me feel safe. That's a manipulation.
Yeah.
That's coming from empty. And you're going to try to control that person to get your needs met at some point, and you're going to let them control you because
Yeah.
you haven't yet learned how to be whole alone. So if you can do that before you make the big moves like marriage and kids, nobody's perfect, but I have a sense of wholeness. The rest of your life is going to go so much better.
Yes, yes. Listen to us, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you, I no, seriously, it's a
Listen to
trend
this
that
old lady.
no, 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 for me and you, because we've been through this. Like you said, it's not even about the age, about the things that we have been through. And I always, when I see like my clients, and I'm like, you know, if you see people going through that, and I'm like, I wish you let me help you. I can help you. I can save you years and years of
Oh,
things. Not because
totally.
we're smarter than you, not because it's
No.
just because we've been through that, we've done it, and we know what it is. So this is
Yeah.
why I emphasize on a lot of young adults these days that are trying to be in a relationship or finding somebody or wanted to be with somebody. It's really healthy for them to start working and working with somebody, because the stigma, this thing that therapist or coach, what are you talking about? There's nothing wrong. Like if they almost feel like shameful that there's something wrong with me.
Right.
But when you get to that level, that's way too late.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like I always say, if you sick, by the time you go to doctor, it's true. You have to pay attention to the symptom before you go to the doctor.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of different theories out there, but one of my favorite, imago theory, basically says you're going to be attracted to the best of your parents and the worst of your parents. So the best of your parents, the loop gets complete. Like you're like, oh, I feel seen. Oh, I feel heard. Oh, I'm celebrated for who I am and who I'm not. That's like a positive loop that you'll be attracted to in somebody. But there's these incomplete loops that you never got seen, never got heard, never got understood, never got believed in, never felt safe in your skin. There's something also incomplete about your parents. And that incomplete loop you get attracted to subconsciously, not consciously,
Mm.
subconsciously to complete in relationship. And that's what I tried to complete in my first relationship and tried to complete in my second marriage. It didn't work. You want to go into a professional environment and complete it with a therapist or with a coach and get that wound complete so you don't keep trying to date your mother or date your father and get divorce after divorce and let down after until you one day you forget you give up on love. You give up on yourself.
Yep.
There is a atrociously high suicide rate, especially in men, especially in men.
Ah, jeez.
I mean, Dr. Warren Farrell, he's been on my podcast, The Boy Crisis. It's just not safe, okay, cool to have emotions as a man. But the men haven't had the role model of what it's that emotions are normal, healthy, beautiful, and the path to enlightenment and awakening and depth of intimacy and healthy families and all these things.
Yeah.
So they're taking their lives. How many girls
Right.
are having issues around eating or so much betrayal
Body
around
image.
body image or betrayal of sisterhood, anything to get the guy, like competition and betrayal between sisters, women. It's to me it's wise, smart to be proactive and do your healing work with a counselor or therapist in your 30s before you go into more committed relationships and bring a child into the world and then friggin' repeat the same issues that your parents had that you
Hmm.
have with your kid. When you're
Absolutely.
listening to a podcast like this and you have the awareness now that I can take the reins of my chariot into my own hands and love myself so much, honor myself so much, cherish myself so much that I will do this work now. And it's not narcissistic. It's narcissistic when you push away your emotions so much that you lose all sense of empathy from others. That's when you're putting yourself first from an unhealthy place. Putting yourself first from a healthy place is I am willing to love myself so much and heal my wounds to the best of my ability and allow myself to be the magnet to attract healthy love and end the ancestral chain of what my parents did their best, but I'm actually the chosen one by the ancestors on the other side of the veil. They count on me. I'm going to be the one to do my inner work and change this for all of humanity and my children and children's children to come. I see it
Uh-huh.
not as something to be ashamed of, but something to be so proud of that you're the one that says, enough's enough. I'm doing the work for me. And I do believe when we do the work, on an energetic level, we heal 7 generations forward and back. I really do believe that. That's like a Native
Yeah.
American belief because everything's energy and we're all quantum entangled.
Yeah.
So I can't think of anything to be more proud of than the brave hearted one that does this inner work. And you get a great life to boot. Come on. This is like,
Yeah.
that's the prize.
That's the price.
You're
That
at peace in
definitely
your
it.
skin and yeah, yeah, you're an inspiration to others.
It just like you feel so light. You're
Right?
like, oh my God, it's over. I'm good. You're
Oh,
peaceful. You're not taking every little thing so sensitive or
so
watching yourself.
personally.
And most
Yeah.
importantly, you don't need permission, validation from anybody to tell you you're beautiful, you're smart, you this, you that. Compliment, that's great. You take it. And then after that, if somebody says like, no, you're not, that's okay too.
That's power and freedom right there. When
Freedom.
you don't need your worth affirmed by another, your safety provided by another, when you know, come hell or high water, I got my own back and I'm humble, but I'm also magnificent.
Absolutely.
Oh, it's
Absolutely.
so attractive. It's so attractive.
For me, it was the freedom. It was all
Yeah.
my life. I said that money cannot buy it. I'm sorry, but I just fought for my freedom up to now, and
Mm.
it was worth every step of it, the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I always tell my stories. So my listeners already know my stories, but me and you are very similar. I've been
Okay.
through a lot of trauma in my life, but the feeling of to be free from everything and
Yeah.
free to be yourself,
Yeah.
I don't, that is the biggest drugs that you, once you get addicted to that, my God, it's
Yeah.
intoxicating. It's
Well,
just,
it is also hormonal. Like we
yeah,
actually have a natural pharmacy inside of ourselves. Even though I
yes.
am using psychedelic medicine with my VIP clients to do the deep work, it's just to get them out of that over functioning brain of theirs and into
Mm-hmm.
their body where we can do the healing. But then once we are on the other side, the smallest things make you happy and grateful.
Yeah.
And you're so present and you have all these new hormones, dopamine and serotonin and oxytocin, this bonding hormone that we think we need with others. We're connecting with little you all the time. We're having it
Yeah.
within our body. And I don't know, nature just makes me happier than it ever has before. And people come up to me and they tell me things they haven't told others. There's just this, you just get to be intimate, connected, whole enough. Not 24/7, but pretty much all the time. And even at the beginning of the interview where I was so moved, you also, happiness It's not about being happy anymore. It's more about being joyful.
Yeah.
Because I cry at commercials and movies and like I cry like but I'm just like happy to be alive crying. Um,
Yeah. I'm
so
gonna
yeah,
nature. You said the nature. So little story. We're gonna go off subject
please.
over here, but no, seriously. Literally 3 days ago,
Yeah.
I love flowers. I do a lot of gardening. You get attached with nature. I get so fascinated by little things. Like it
Yes.
fascinates me. I get so into it. So my kids always makes fun of me, but I plant my flowers and I have this tall flower pot, and
Yeah.
the bird made nest in it.
Oh, wow.
Now, here's the thing though, like I said to myself, this is weird because I have to water the flower.
Right.
Like, how am I gonna do that? I kid you not, Ellen, I've been like searching, I chat GPT it. I'm like, what am I supposed but the joy that comes with it,
Oh,
I'm
I
watching them and I'm like so careful and I'm like, okay,
yes,
let me water it. I don't want the flower to die, but at the same time, I don't want to destroy their nest.
of course.
Because normally it's on the tree. So this is the first time I'm seeing doing this. I'm like, oh my
Right.
God, I'm responsible for this. This is here. But back to you that, those little things, you put everything aside and you actually within your child self.
Mm,
And
mm.
it's so joyful.
Totally. What an honor. It really speaks of the safe energy that you emit for a bird to feel safe enough to build a nest so low to the ground in the flowers
Yeah.
rather than up, because it maybe knows that you're mama bear. You're going to
I
protect
literally
it.
go to every morning I meditate. I have my thing. I'm looking at, and the reason I know it because I pay attention. So I'm
Yeah.
looking at it. These two tiny birds are coming in, and I'm like, that's so unusual. I've never seen them before. But then I saw them bringing stuff. Then they
Yeah.
built the nest, and I'm like,
Oh,
wow,
wow. They
this
trust you.
is
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a
So
big
that
deal.
made me feel so good about myself. I'm like, okay,
Oh,
and then probably they know that you're not gonna do nothing. So I'm gonna build it over here. You're gonna take care of it regardless of what.
yeah. I think it's a compliment. Yeah.
I think, but back to that, like you said, child mind. I always tell people, always be child minded, but not
Mm.
childish.
Correct. Wonder, innocence. Yeah, to go through life where every day could be our last, could be our
Yeah,
last, and to be able to go through it with wonder and delight and gratitude. And on the other hand, also the confidence to say thank you, but no thank you, or
yeah,
to trust yourself and have healthy boundaries, even though they might be, you know, talking a good story, you can
hmm,
smell a rat. This capacity to go through life like this is empowerment and joy. And I just can't imagine a life where I don't do this work. I mean, even my sweet staff, we start every call. I'm like, what did I say to them this morning? I'm like, tell me why you're grateful to be alive, or tell me a way you loved well this week, or whatever. Like they're
yeah,
in India and the Philippines, they're all over the planet, and
yeah.
we're a family. It's a
That's
frequency. Stick with your family of frequency. Stick
yeah,
with people who are real and they're not going to bullshit you. Stay with people that you could call at 3 a.m. and they will listen and not fix you or
yeah,
try to make you wrong. And you don't have to have a big, huge family. I think quality over quantity is important. And the number one is with yourself. And having a partner like yourself or myself to walk you home where you might be unconscious, there might be a blind spot, you might just be too damn afraid, right?
mhm,
I liken it to you can't be the banks of the river and the river at the same time. You can get a lot of work done doing self-study and this kind of thing, but there comes a point where you need to let go all the way. Choose
yeah,
well who's going to be the banks of the river for you and guarantee that you'll get all the way home. And that is like a surrogate partnership for what it's going to
mm,
feel like when you're in a romantic relationship. You know, oh, I don't have to keep talking really fast because they're going to interrupt me. Oh, I know what it feels like to be heard. Oh, I expressed something and they said, I hear you. Tell me more. Like there's a feeling in your body when you've really been honored, seen, and acknowledged for your humanity. Have some sort of experience where you know what that feels like so you can replicate that in the most intimate relationships that really, really matter. Give yourself that gift.
absolutely, absolutely. Amen to that. I love it. Let's take some question for our from our listeners. What they say.
Cool.
Okay. How do you explain the difference between sexual attraction and real intimacy?
Mm. I think there is sexual attraction in real intimacy, but there's the difference between that like love bombing chemistry. one date, let's get married, that crazy addiction kind of sexual attraction. It's kind of like the difference between being happy and being joyful, right? It's a deeper, richer, slow burn sexual attraction to me that really leads to healthy intimacy. And a lot of that intoxication, can't live without them. Why didn't they text me back? Oh my God, it's going to blow up. That level of crazy passion addiction to me always blows up. But my clients where we've integrated those wounds, those crazy addictions, sexual attractions don't happen anymore.
Mm.
And they initially go, well, am I even attracted to them? Because this feels so different. But it's a slower burn. It's an ability to you fart and it's okay. Like you don't have to like, oh my God, I'm not perfect. I'm
Yeah.
not perform. Here's another one. If you're trying to perform sexually, you're not present. You're connected to trying to look good or not be rejected or be enough. That's the kind of sexual attraction that's shallow and wound driven. But when you can just let your belly hang out and you just like whatever, just it's messy and it's not really pretty, but it's real. And it's almost like the energy moves you. You're not in charge with your brain of, oh, touch them here and tweak there and make a noise here, like all that performative stuff. You just let life move you in in a dance with another, flesh to flesh, heart to heart, soul to soul, eye to eye, like that. Um, that's healthy.
I'm so lucky to experience that. I say two body, one soul. When you
Oh,
feel like you're two body in one soul,
mm.
your heart beat fast, you can't catch a breath. And he's like, what's happening? Like you said, you don't try to impress, you don't try to hold your stomach, you don't care about if the light is on or off, you don't
Right.
care about nothing. And you're so into it
Yeah.
that nothing matters.
Yeah. Yeah. I just even like looking up different body parts. Like I just get so turned on sometimes by their hands or
I
just the way
know.
the side of their neck is and or their smell.
Yeah.
They're just being near them regulates my nervous system and I feel more like me. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you recommend for people, for couples who wants to bring the spark back into their relationship and if they feel like it's gone?
Slow down. Slow down. I like to give like a 21-day intimacy challenge. Day one,
Mhm.
you're only allowed to hold hands. Day two, you're only allowed to eye gaze. Day three, blindfold each other and just nuzzle up against each other's bodies. And you just continue building. And one day of pleasure only for one, the next day of pleasure only for the other. One day you have to only ask for what you want, and you get to say slower, faster, harder, softer, pause, stop, begin again. Like you just slow everything down to the senses, to being present, to touch. You can do breath, slowing down and breathe and align your breathing. You could go all the way to, just having one night of just oral sex just for one and ask for everything you want. You could bring in role play and fantasy one night. You could read erotic fiction another. But if you have these containers where you know it's not going to go any farther and it's about going a mile deep, not a mile wide, and have these different assignments every single night, it's like you get to know each other's bodies, each other's pleasures all over again. Sometimes we don't even slow down to ask ourselves what feels good. We never know that if you're only allowed no nipples, no yoni, no kissing, but every other part of your body is an erogenous zone. Discover them. I had no idea my ears were so turned on, or I had no idea the side of my rib cage right there drives me wild. Right? So, but by slowing down and getting curious, it's kind of like being teenagers again.
Oh, you got me all tingly now. I'm picturing that doing it.
Yeah. And it's fun to have structure because also it makes it safe and there's a sense of winning every single
Yeah.
time. Sometimes couples don't stop having sex. Well, it could be something as painful as like an affair, this kind of thing, but also rejection.
Yeah.
We have no idea how deep the wounds are from being rejected when we had the bravery to try something. So when
Hmm.
you take it in small little chunks in a container where you get to win, that builds the confidence over time to become authentic again. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. How can someone get their partner to open up emotionally in a deeper, more connected ways?
Oh, I love this question. Okay, I just started a Patreon membership about 3, 4 months ago. And in the Heart Centered Foundations level, there's 2 levels. I have put in there, they're called dyads. I do this with all my clients. Communication is so key to feeling heard, not interrupted,
Mm,
understood. A lot of people are two ships passing in the night because they're seeking to win and be right and get their point across. They're not seeking to understand.
mhm,
They're not seeking to understand. So these form of dyads, basically this very simple way. Somebody asks a question, tell me something you like about me. The other person answers,
mhm,
I like your dimples and your cheeks. And then the first person, they only get to say thank you. Then as you move, there's a structure of it. 1, 2, 3 questions. The second question might be, tell me something you think we align on. This really builds affinity, like we're on the same team. We're not two opposing, winners and losers that you're never going to have intimacy when someone's got to be the winner and loser. So when you start proactively looking for, oh, we actually have the same point of view here, and we're actually going in the same direction here. We have an aligned vision here. Our values are aligned here. It builds more safety and connection. The third question you can change over time, and every month in my membership, we give new questions to support couples. It could be, tell me something you want me to understand that you think I don't fully understand. And remember, once you ask the question and they answer, all you get to say is, thank you. No
mm,
interrupting. You don't get to say, yeah, but blah, blah, blah. Zip it. Sit in the fire. Shut up. Right? So they feel safe sharing. And you learn to be a good listener. You learn. But that third question could also be, tell me something you're afraid to tell me.
mhm,
Right? Um, because if you say something and you're afraid they're going to get upset, then you either never say it or you just keep having fights. This structure is sacred for deepening emotional connection and intimacy because you actually you find you don't say as much because you're going to be heard and
mhm,
and they're not going to react, so there's almost more of an honesty and a kindness and a respect and an integrity that comes out with your communication. But as a listener, you also realize, wow, no wonder they haven't told me these things. I react all the time. I talk
mhm,
back all the time. I interrupt all the time. So it's so good for both parties. And the third question can also be, tell me a way you like to be loved that I could do more of. It could be, tell me a way you like oral sex. It could get very sexy. It could be
mhm.
anything,
Right,
right?
right.
But the structure, following the rules, becoming a better listener, becoming a better communicator, talking about what really matters in a way where you won't be interrupted is profound. I literally had a couple, they were married 28 years and they are very accomplished. So they talk over each other all the time and they're busy and they're very wealthy and they do all that. But man, their intimacy, not so good. So we sat down and they started to do the dyad and they didn't say thank you. They kept interrupting. I'm like, zip it, quiet, quiet. And then within one dyad, they were both in tears. They finally heard each other. We fought about this for 28 years. I go, yeah, because you haven't listened for 28 years, right? You
Mhm,
talk over each other. And
mhm.
so, man, oh man. And the beautiful thing was they were on the same page. They actually were on the same page.
Yeah,
Their core value was family, but they couldn't get there
yeah.
because they just nobody had taught them how to communicate effectively from the heart and be listened to with honor and respect. Yeah.
And you also build a trust. Not only that, but the trust that once, like you said, I love the question that you said, tell me something that you don't want to tell me.
Yeah.
And then once they share with you, that means they trust you.
Right.
So the more you do that, the more you're going to build a trust so they can
Oh,
be themselves.
totally. I'm covered in shivers. You're totally right. I don't know why, but I'm covered in shivers because that we don't know how to build or rebuild back trust after a rupture. I think probably the most important, beautiful skill that I teach this ability to sit in the fire means you're more able to repair ruptures, and ruptures happen all the time. That's normal.
Mm,
But if you can't repair a rupture, it's like death by a thousand cuts. All of a
Yeah.
sudden, one day you're roommates. No, you haven't learned how to repair ruptures over and over. Why is that? You haven't learned to zip it, sit in the fire, keep your heart open, and stay connected to yourself, which is back to the beginning of our conversation,
Yeah.
intimacy with self, to then stay connected to another. So I like to go all the way back to these core fundamental capacities that lead
Right.
to successful relationships over time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What are some intimacy blind spot and how can someone tell if they have one?
Oh, well, I have a quiz. It's called the top 5 mistakes that destroy a conscious relationship. It's a
I
five.
actually have that as a question.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So,
So it's like a 5 video series. And so you can
okay.
go through um, and see if any of these blind spots are yours. I think that might be the most efficient way to go through and answer that question. Um,
Okay.
but the link, do you have the link? It's my
I will put
website.
the link. Yes,
Yeah, put the link
absolutely.
in the show
I
notes.
have
Yeah.
everything. Yes.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
would I would have a look there because I'll give you one quick example. Somebody might say to me, I do these things called intimacy breakthrough experience calls, and they're like, all women are gold diggers, and I just can't seem to find a woman that likes me for me. And I'm like, huh, how much do you like you for you? And and the man or the woman or whatever is, oh. I go, yeah, your blind spot is that you only value your money. You don't value your heart, your soul, your integrity, your ability to take responsibility. You only value your bank account. That's why you attract gold diggers. So that's an example of a blind spot when you
Blind
think the
spot.
problem is there's no good men or there's no good women or all women are this or all men are that. No, no, no. There's a wound underneath it that you don't want to face or risk getting hurt again. That's actually
This
what's going on.
absolutely, absolutely. So I talk a lot about boundaries. This is my area.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I teach in my coaching,
Yes.
communication and boundaries.
Nice.
So, what is your advice for someone who struggled with people pleasing and wanted to start healthy relationship and set some boundaries?
Mm. The ability to set a boundary, I could just give you a script and you could
Yeah,
just say it and do it, but that's not going to help
that's
you
going
at
to
all.
help you, right?
There's a wound inside that if you set a boundary down before, I assert somebody took away love, abused you, mocked you. Something bad happened when you put down a boundary before. So then, oh, I'm not going to do that. They'll get angry. That they'll take their love away. Something will happen. That's the wound that actually needs to get healed so that when you put down the boundary, which anybody can tell you how to say the words out your mouth, and it doesn't go well, you don't change. That's what the boundary is. The boundary is you may reject me, but I won't reject myself. You may not like this, but I'm not going to now betray myself. To me, boundaries are all about our ability to sit in the fire and keep our word to ourself, keep our integrity to ourself, even if they don't like it, even if they leave, even if they blame us, even. The list can go on and on. We're not moving. And our heart stays open. Our heart stays open. If we
I can
can,
have you like for 3 hours because I have so much other stuff, but I'm not going to take so much of your time before I let you go. I know we passed our time and I'm looking at this number. She's probably like, I don't want to.
no, no, this is so fun. And Valerie, the depth of my ability to share is equal to the depth of your listening. So thank you.
Thank you. No, no, no,
Yeah,
no. It's really, really enjoyable. But I can go on because I love what you do and I love how you teach people. And this is my favorite subject to talk about because I
I
love
love
to
it.
for young people to listen and start their life. So exciting, it's so
Yes, yes.
exciting. And if we can share stuff with them, and as an expert, you can tell them how to start this journey in a healthy way.
Yep.
That's what matters the most. But before I let you go, what is one advice that you have for young couple that is starting their life and they're getting serious and they want to have that description
Yep.
that you said, that
Yep.
happy, be accepted, be who they are, not posing, not pretending, no
Yep.
validation, and just be free.
Yep. Yep. Do the work. If you're going to go to the gym 3, 4 times a week, great. Okay. I'd like you once a week to have a date night where you just are together and you play and you enjoy being together. But I would also like one night a week where you do this intimacy work. That's why I created Patreon. So like once a week, you'll sit down after dinner and you'll go through some videos. You'll do some of these dyads. You'll do maybe one of the meditations. You'll
Yeah.
see me modeling vulnerability and authenticity and at this frequency, if you just water the plant, just once a week, create an afternoon or a night where you listen to material like this that really deepens intimacy, and then talk about it, and then go for a walk and talk about it. As long as you just put a little bit of work in on a consistent, regular basis, the elephant in the living room isn't going to grow into a herd of elephants in the living room, right? You'll learn how to repair ruptures right out of the gate. You'll have a deeper relationship with yourself. You'll be great communicators. You'll keep that spark alive, all the things. And I'm just asking
Yeah,
for one evening or one little afternoon. Just join it's very inexpensive. Just join Patreon and just do the work once a week. That's all it's really going to take. And if you can do
absolutely.
that on a regular basis, each of you will be individually better people, because that's also your responsibility. It's not their job to make you happy. It's your own job to
Right.
be fulfilled, right? And then to give from the overflow to one another. You'll be the talk of the
Yeah.
town and the inspiration of all your friends.
There you go.
Yep.
Beautiful advice. Elena, thank you so much. This was great. I really
Yeah.
appreciate all your amazing advice. And I would definitely
Thank
to bring
you.
you back because we have a tons of questions. And I'm sure the listeners gonna want you to come back and talk about more stuff with
Oh,
them.
it would be my honor. You're wonderful. Huge
Thank you.
love to you and to all the listeners.